In 3, 2, 1. Welcome everyone to episode 34 of the FrameCast. This time without Xeno pressing weird mute buttons on his headset.
Don't know what you're talking about.
And Zakimus.
Hello.
Well, Zakimus pressing the weird mute button on the headset as well.
Yes, I reached across that many miles of ocean and tickled your ear.
The bastard.
So yeah, Zakimus is joining us today on the FrameCast via audio only, but we do have a lovely representation of him right on the screen, so you know that he is among us. No, it's in your favorite car. I specifically made it for you. You can put it as
the right color.
It is.
I'm totally using that picture.
Moving on.
So today we are talking about something which has been going on since December, but has been picking up some a lot of media attention over the past few weeks, which has of course been the what is the I don't think coronavirus is the correct term.
It is the novel
COVID-19.
coronavirus termed as COVID-19.
COVID-19.
Yeah. So
just calling it the coronavirus is having too much of a negative impact.
And it's actually just called COVID-19.
Yeah. So we shall stick with COVID-19 for the name, or you guys fine with that?
No, COVID-19.
Yeah.
COVID-19.
Cool. So today, as you might have been aware, COVID-19 is something which has been all over the news recently as of March 3rd, 2020, when this podcast is recorded. There has been a lot of, this has been a widespread issue across the whole world. We don't necessarily want to tackle the virus itself that much, because, we're no experts and things change very rapidly with the situation. However, what we are very interested in is the effect that this situation has on the games industry, and especially when it comes to conventions, but also with the console launch, the new console generation coming out, Xbox One something, I don't know what their name is horrible, and the PlayStation 5, which will of course require hardware to be crafted and supplied and shipped. And how will that
Not just that.
happen?
We were also talking about the current generation as well, who have suffered a huge impact. We'll look at the different, the stock markets, especially the poor Corona beer. And we're going to look at how the media is portraying COVID-19, and is it, first off, I would like to have Zakimus explain to the level he wants to about. No, it's fine. How would you describe yourself in relation to the field of the topic? Not virology, but because we don't have one of those.
For what I do, I really don't encounter it on a regular basis, if at all. It's just more talking with colleagues.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to elaborate any further than that?
Not specifically.
That's fine.
Yeah. So where do you want to start, Drew? Where do you want to start us off? We have a variety of topics before us.
Okay.
All equally interesting.
Okay. I want to start on some of the horrific rumor milling that's been going on with regards to people not wanting to buy packages because the bubble wrap could contain air that's contaminated with COVID-19.
It's ass backwards, but there is a bit of logic to it.
All right,
don't get me wrong. Go ahead.
What could be the logic to it?
I mean, you're receiving something that could potentially be contaminated. It's not a you're a moron, you're fine. It's they don't know. You don't understand how things can be transmitted, how long they live outside the body, things of that nature. People just don't know. They're not aware.
Mm-hmm. I can understand that. I can see the point of if you aren't aware of how long something can persist for, or so, like something can persist for within an enclosed area, then theoretically, it could be a source of infection. However, given that for a package or close air and bubble wrap to travel all around the world from your from the place that's been manufactured to where you live is such a long ass distance most of the time, given where it's manufactured from. And adding at the time of that, the bubble wrap won't be like immediately produced and then immediately shipped to your house, and will probably be manufactured and shipped off to another company that buys it up to then wrap things in it and then send it your way. That there's been so much time in between that thing has been manufactured and sat in storage and been going on for the entire while that it gets to your place, that like there's gonna be an insanely fucking strong virus that can survive for years on end. Will it ever try to do you harm? And then if you like wash your hands after touching it, yeah,
There you go.
like,
Wash your hands.
there you go. No
Like,
problem.
So the big thing is, you're more likely to get the virus off the delivery man, right, than you are from popping the bubbles in bubble wrap.
Which you should definitely do every time.
You know,
Yes.
it's just like, you know, that's not the problem, right? Like, we don't know what the lifespan of COVID-19 is outside of the human body, right? As of a
Not
few
that
days ago.
specifically, but in general, it's not very long.
No,
Like, it's not
it's
going
like
to
a few
survive the
hours.
trip from China to here.
Yeah,
Not
not
inside
only
of
that,
the-
it's not going to survive the trip from like the depot
The
where it's
warehouse
stored. Yeah,
down the
to
store,
where
yeah.
you are. So the person that is going to give it to you is the guy handling the packages, right? If anyone gives it to you, it's him. He won't even get it from the sorting house, right? Because typically they get delivered into his truck, right? And then the truck sat there overnight before he gets in it for the first time and then drives off with the stuff.
Even if you're talking about some rapid overturn facility like an Amazon warehouse, like it's still not likely. Like you're gonna get it from the person. Wash your hands, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another big thing is like the amount of like,
Probably be fine.
yeah, there's no guarantees of anything, right?
Yeah, well,
A big thing is, right? A big thing is the mortality rate of COVID-19, right? It is different for country to country, right? I believe in China, which is all the places that I could actually find, like, it's this percentage in China.
We're too early in to be talking about anything like this. Like there's
exactly.
just not the
Right.
data yet.
But this is the thing that the media are really focusing on. Oh, it's really deadly. Oh, it's like, stop drumming up news. Give facts.
That's not news. That's infotainment.
Bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah, like I believe part of it comes from traditional media being in this weird space where they really have to start using clickbait, which they have been using over the past few years, in order to get their clicks, in order to get their advertisers, in order to get their money.
Sensationalize news.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
They
you're
need
gonna fail.
they need those
People
headlines.
don't want to know what's going on. They want to be entertained. Or watch the man on the screen ranting on about something they agree or disagree with, and it has to be polarizing.
Yeah,
The big thing I want to highlight, right, is that currently it's reported that 3% of all cases people have died. 3%. But those are the cases where people have been diagnosed with COVID-19, right? There have been instances where, like, you could go to the doctors having the flu, they diagnose you with a cold, and that doesn't count towards the percentage, right? You could have the flu and not even go to the doctors. That doesn't count towards the percentage, so on and so forth. So the mortality rate is a lot lower than what is actually reported.
Well, I see.
It's too early.
Yeah,
to really
like
be saying anything like that.
like the thing which I want to highlight with when it comes to mortality rates or any statistics or any specific details about this virus, is that I want to tread that area very, very carefully, and I kind of tend to like shy away from it a little bit more during this Framecast. Number one, because all the data that we might have, we get from mostly I get it from secondary sources. I believe like you guys might know more primary sources, but mostly I see it through articles that pop up, and I try to find the best articles I can, but still I have no way to verify that data. And even if I could verify that data, yeah, I could. Like, actually, that's a good source. That's a good source. But even if I could verify that data, that's still right now only a temporary piece of data, which is far from complete, and would be most likely completely different if you watch this like hours from now. So I don't think that we should go into there. I think that the packaging infection fears are, I mean, I can understand that people feel that as like a first reaction, but if you think about it, it makes no sense. One thing that I do want to talk about in a little bit more detail is the way that this thing affects the games industry, and especially when it comes to conventions, because this is the thing. Mobile World Congress, a tech convention earlier this month in Barcelona, was cancelled because of the coronavirus. And ever since then, we've been seeing more and more conventions or events. I think that recently a League event got shut down. That was just right now on the news. I'll see if we can find more data on that. But like, people are shutting down conventions or pulling out of it in fear of the spreading of the disease. Now, I actually think that there's a really good case to make for this, because every time that I've been to a convention, there's something known as the con flu, or like the convention sickness. Like after every convention, like you have a bunch of people that have been going on, like it will be a couple of days that people are there, they won't sleep that much, they'll be out into the convention the entire time, which is an enclosed space of a whole bunch of people with like a single like internal air conditioning system. It's going to be, people are going to catch things there. Most of the time those things are innocent, but let's say that like right now one person with this virus goes to such a convention, you are risking infecting so many more people that like it doesn't make sense for me that a lot of these conventions should be going on right now. I think that it's better.
I disagree entirely. Mm-hmm. Right. First off, it's on every landmass. Right. Mm-hmm. This is a pandemic in everything but name. Right. It is on every continent. Mm-hmm. Right. No two ways about that. Right. Next, you're more inclined to get the common cold than COVID-19.
But that doesn't mean that you should right now, at this time, create spaces or have spaces where this thing can spread even more easily with events, with these big
you have
conventions.
That with plane flights. Plane flights are so much worse, right? You know, you're up in high altitude, you've packed everything, everyone in like a sardine, right? Mm-hmm. And, you know, you're sucking on the same air as everyone else for upwards of, I don't know, anything from 2 to, 24 hours, depending on whether or not you decide to fly from England to Australia, right? That is such a worst case scenario. But no country has yet, as far as I'm aware, has yet to say, right, we're not allowing any more flights within the country. Yeah?
Well, that's because I feel that's going to be something which is really hard to put a stop to. Then again, I don't know much about that. Back to what you said about the plane flight. It is a very big risk thing for infection, especially when it comes to I've been thinking about like airports in general, like how many thousands of people move through an airport and how little control you have over like in what kind of state these people are, and everyone is like going for the same holes, touching the same things, and being in the same airplane for hours and hours on end with the same air circulation system. But the thing with the plane is that also comes into play with these big conventions. So you're going to get people from all over the world flying all the way to where that convention is to then spend days spend days on end into this closed environment where all these people walk around being very close to each other, which is known to be an infection zone because every single time there is this con flu, and then they go back on planes again, go back home. It's like it's such a high risk thing. That even here in Europe, we're seeing soccer or hockey matches being played without public because they do not want this risk of just an event where people just go there by bus or go there by their own car. Why would you want to have this event where you know that pretty much most of the people that will be attending will be coming by plane?
Okay, so I don't know if that's the case for things like PAX, right? I don't know what percentage of the people that go to PAX are from out of the US.
Well,
right?
not necessarily out of the US, because remember whenever we would go to TennoCon, there would be a lot of people from like the US and in Canada that would fly there. And like this is not like the difference between Toronto or London in Canada and some other place in the US where someone from the US would go to. Those differences there's not a big difference that is in Canada versus that being in the US. The distances are big enough that people will often take like inland flights.
No, I get that, right? But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the intercontinental stuff, right? One of the big things about airports being you highlighted the number of people that are passing through an airport. What about the number of people that aren't? The number of people that work there, the number of people that if they get infected, they have a chance of infecting anyone else they meet, right? If you've got someone at the check-in, I was trying so hard to remember what it's called. If you've got someone at the check-in taking in luggage off of potential passengers, well, actually, they probably are passengers, right? That person could infect every single person they come into contact with. Then those people could infect people that they're on the flight with. And then those people could infect the people that they come in contact with on the other side of the flight, right? It's this, like, planes, trains, buses, all forms of public transportation are huge risk factors to spreading of diseases. And it's not hard for governments to just simply declare, right, we're not taking in any form of international traffic, right? The biggest thing is with COVID-19, the incubation period is from 14 to 28 days, right? And the standard quarantine period is only 14 days. So when you self-quarantine yourself, so you don't leave your own home, yeah, that's only 14 days. So you could still be carrying the disease or the virus. I need to be careful on my terminology because I don't know this exactly. You know, you could be infected and you could still infect others even after the quarantine period.
Yeah. So that's why I feel that I think it's tough to put a complete stop to a lot of things like international flights or public transport. In a sense, like as good as that would be to eliminate a lot of places where close physical contact between large groups of people occurs, like the hard thing is that a lot of these methods of transport are required to keep businesses, economy, and basically our way of life going. That being said, that's why I feel that there is a certain certain responsibility on the shoulders of people that are planning or planning to host conventions to consider this virus. within it and think about, like, is it really necessary to have thousands of people go through this international traffic, this international plane flying through airports, through public transport, to all come to this one place where they'll spend days in this enclosed, like, arena or whatever holes you'll have, this enclosed exhibition center, where they will then be in very close physical contact with each other, where they will not be very hygienic, because, like, most of the time it's not the most hygienic place if you've ever been to conventions, and then spend days on end being there, not sleeping very well, having fun, and then going back home with just, like, it's such a high risk thing, that I just don't think it's a very responsible thing to still be doing. And I think that places that conventions like the Mobile World Congress do a really good job in shutting it down. However, the problem with shutting down conventions right before they happen is that you'll still have people that will have already booked their plane tickets. So I'm really wondering, when it comes to conventions that are coming up within, like, the upcoming half a year, whether it's still a good choice to still be going on with conventions and announcing conventions that are going to be happening within the next 6 months, because I don't think it is at this time.
Okay, I wanna propose the question to Zakimus, because he had to disappear off to answer the phone.
Sorry about that.
No, that's fine. You do you, good sir. Right. So Michelle pointed out his feelings toward conventions and should be cancelled. To hold on. Sorry, I need to get, like, a video up or something. Like, I need to make sure that my PC doesn't go into screensaver mode, otherwise nothing works. Right. Michelle feels that conventions should be cancelled. And my point is, I don't think conventions should be cancelled, because the virus is already on every continent. And if you're not going to shut down the airports, what is the point in shutting down the conventions?
I agree and disagree here. Outside of current event, like, conventions have been public health nightmares forever. I don't know if you guys talked about it or not. Like, the con flu, Paxpox, all that. But it is already such a public health nightmare, and people, they like, you hit day 2 of a convention, the level of, oh god, y'all need to shower, skyrockets.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
See,
in the here and now, when we don't know as much as we know, and there are too many moving parts, it would be wise to be cautious about holding events right now. I think that would be a good move to maybe not this time.
Yeah.
But in general, it's already pretty bad.
I mean, I mean, like, the thing is that it is already pretty bad, which is something that people accept. However, right now, because the virus is in such an early stage, and it's not a really nice experience to go through, and it's something which we're tracking already pretty well with the entire world, because it is such a novel thing. I don't think that even if we aren't shutting down all international traffic, I don't think that we should just add more fuel to the fire because, it's already there anyway. Let's just keep on going. I don't think that's a good idea.
Precautions definitely do need to be made. Yes, even if it is everywhere, like, you still need to be reasonable about taking precaution.
Yeah, so go ahead, Drew.
I'm just looking at what the symptoms are for COVID-19, because I genuinely don't know. This is part of the propaganda. Is like part of the mass media panic. Like, I don't know what the symptoms are for COVID-19.
One of the bigger problems about this one is it's transmittable before symptoms even appear. Like,
because it's got such a long incubation period.
There's an incubation period, but you can be spreading it. That's part of the main. Oh shit, this one could be bad.
Hold on. The symptoms are a cough, high temperature, and shortness of breath.
Flu-like.
Yeah.
Which brings up another point. Get your flu shots. That's a much, much bigger
Yeah.
I find it crazy
ball
that
of
people
wax
don't
that
have
affects
it.
way more people, and it's super easy and accessible to get your flu shot, even if you don't have insurance.
Mm-hmm.
But it especially depends on which country you're from. Like in the UK, it's super easy to get.
Any reasonable place to live on Earth these days, you can get the flu shot. There's not a lot of excuse.
I'm just. Yeah, it's like we're not talking like your eyes are bleeding. You know, you're having super shits. It's just flu-like symptoms. You could have actually already had it. Right. Okay, so one of the bigger concerns, which I think maybe thinking about this leads more towards what Michelle's saying about, shutting down the conventions. There has been at least one case, if not more, where someone has had COVID-19, gotten over COVID-19, and then become reinfected with it, right? That they go through the whole process again.
Mm-hmm.
Not their body doesn't produce. Oh God, Lost spoke about this. I can't bloody well remember what it was. Basically, is it antibodies?
Yes.
Yeah, the body doesn't produce antibodies to fight it off a second time. I don't know about that. To be honest, that screams to me that this is a one
Even
in a
if
blue
that
moon
were
chance.
the case, like, we're still really early in. There's not data to support anything here yet. Even if there was one confirmed case where he got the double jeopardy and hit it twice.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that's one case. Like,
to be honest, it sounds more like
everything.
It sounds more like they got the cold, so I got the flu, then they got COVID-19, or vice
That
versa.
could be it. Again, no data.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I've booked my flights to TennoCon. Literally days before DE spoke about
Maybe
delaying.
we're not going to do it this year.
Yeah.
Which
and
would be a wise move, honestly.
Yeah, what if Warframe would not do TennoCon yet? Because like you're saying you just booked your flights, but they haven't released their tickets yet.
No.
So the convention is not going. I would personally think it's a responsible choice if they weren't to do it. However, that is not considering that's not considering that people like you have already booked your tickets because they've already announced a date.
Yeah. I am not cancelling my tickets, my flight tickets, because if I do, right, I get none of the money back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the only way I'd get any money back is if the either my country or Canada, either the UK or Canada, puts a no-fly zone on. Right? They're stopping traffic between the two countries. That's the only way I would get my money back. So if DE turned around and said, like, yeah, we're cancelling TennoCon, we're just going to hold an event, I'm still going to Canada. Right? Like, I'm still going to the SunCon. I'm still going to hang around for like a week, just find something to do, right?
There you go, we can hang out.
I'm not cancelling my £800 worth of flights and losing that money. Right?
Yeah.
The government can cancel them for me.
I find it I just find it quite weird, like in that sense that like they've already announced they've announced this already quite late. Because normally they would announce the TennoCon dates earlier. They've already announced it quite late, and then the tickets aren't live yet. I would feel that with the concerns that I have, I would feel it's a responsible choice if they weren't to have another con to add on to this. Because again, I just think it's like you're just like again like I think it's a really responsible choice what we're seeing with hockey leagues and soccer leagues here in Europe, where they're canceling either events or they're doing the matches without audience around, because they don't want to add more fuel to the fire. They don't, like, even if you can't shut down everything, you can make sure that you're not like going around recklessly being like, oh, if we're doing this, let's just do everything. Because I don't think that that's a wise approach. So I think it would be I think it would be somewhat responsible if they were to take it into account. However, the problem already is here that people have already booked tickets. I think a lot of people have already booked tickets, plane tickets and hotel tickets right now already, because they've already announced the date. So I don't see, like, I don't know. I really don't know how to feel about that. If they do cancel or if they don't cancel, I really don't know how to feel about that, because it will be not ideal either way, in my opinion.
Sorry, I'm just trying to work out. Right. Okay. Cool. How many people? So there's about 3,000, probably 3,500 people at Tenno, right? How many people are in could you get in a football stadium?
Considerably more.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
I don't have numbers, but yeah, 3,000 is paltry.
Right. It's paltry. Let's have a quick look. I'll see how many people does the Millennium Stadium sit?
Again, you do have to account for that a convention is not just the convention itself. Okay. It also requires to travel. So, like, the planes that all these people
no. Hold on. Right. The Millennium Stadium in Cardiff, right? Which, as far as I'm aware, is one of the biggest stadiums in the country, is 74,500 people, right? Okay, for an event.
Yeah.
Heathrow Airport, 213,000 a day.
Yeah. It's, again, I would definitely recommend, from personal experience. This is not me. I'm not an expert on this, but I personally, in my opinion, would avoid airports as much as I can. Only if it's something I really have to go to for a business thing. And I think the thing is that I don't know how easy people shut down airports, because I don't think it's an easy thing to do. However, at the same time, I don't think that like the fact that that this thing happens to be a bad situation, I don't think that justifies something which might be a little bit like less of a bad situation to still like, oh yeah, let's have that as well. Because like the fact that is not an ideal situation doesn't mean that has to not be an ideal situation. I find it a little bit like of a weak argument, because then we can just kind of do whatever we want, because
that was my point. That is my entire point, right? Birmingham New Street train station handles between 170,000 and 300,000 people in a day. Right? It's like, we're talking about paltry numbers of 3,000 people. Yes, I get it. The risk is in the flight, but
correct.
They're not shutting down the flights.
Yeah, but the fact that the flights are not being shut down doesn't mean that, like, because they murdered 10 people, that then I can just murder one person because they did 10 and like that's fine. It's like, no, it's not, because like one big thing is wrong. I can do this smaller thing. Like,
that's not comparable.
Am I muted? No.
Okay. No, go ahead.
Shutting down an airport is going to have much more of an impact on way more people. Like, that's a fairly vital thing to have. TennoCon, my job isn't lost because I didn't go to TennoCon.
No.
Like, there needs to be a real hard distinction here. If we're shutting down just for fun events, for precaution, that's probably a good thing. Shutting down something that could potentially have an impact on economies, that needs to weigh a little bit more.
Yeah.
Right, fair enough. But the risk of life is so much more with an airport or a train station.
You are
in
not
public
wrong,
transport.
but
Yeah.
in context, the fun optional thing, like you're not going to lose your job, you're not going to miss your flight, and this big international deal we had is gonna fall through.
Why
It's
no,
Tenocon,
like you
not travel.
If there was a business to business relationship where, like, Susan, if you don't
Okay,
Jeffrey, if you don't get this deal,
forget
well,
the
fucking fine.
individual
That wouldn't
examples, but like, you understand what I'm saying. If you shut down travel, that messes up way more than shutting down a just for fun elective thing. Like,
Yes,
Tenocon
I get
existing and not existing,
Right.
it's not going to have any impact on anything.
Right.
Shutting
But-
down travel will.
Mhm.
Right. I get that. But
Okay.
so does the spreading of misinformation, with people like refusing to buy Corona because of the quote unquote Corona beer virus.
Well, that and it tastes like piss.
Well, I don't know. I think Loz likes it, but
To each their own. Yeah,
But-
it's not my thing.
But still, it's like, again, if people don't buy a beer because like they fear
That's
that
just
might,
silly.
it's silly, but like whatever, unless you got stock in that
but
company,
people can lose their jobs over.
or you own that company, it's like, that sucks, but that, like, fine. I just think that it's like, it's such a stupid risk to run for a just for fun event, and I don't think that the argument that there are worst cases where more people walk through in essential parts of life of travel justifies that you have something just for fun, because it's less bad than this situation, which is essential for our economy
Yes,
and
it
for
is
getting
much
around.
worse. You are
I
much more likely to be infected in a much more heavily populated,
yeah.
higher throughput, more people, more bodies, more germs. Like, yes, it is worse.
Yeah.
Considerably.
So like
Right.
Those are necessities.
so like
So if it's worse, right, then what is the point?
There are
in-
guidelines for this. World Health Organization. Go look them up.
What was I
don't
going
know
to say?
them off the top of my head, but yes, there are guidelines for these things.
No, my point is, right, as we have established, airports, train stations, they're the worst places. That they are the places you're more than likely going to get the virus, right?
There's a
Hands
good
down, right?
rate.
so much-
There's a
you're
good
so much more
potential
likely
for
getting-
transmission.
there
right,
there
there
is there is a greater
But-
potential.
Yeah, there's a greater potential for that, right?
Mhm.
So if you go to work every day via the train, right? If you go to fly on business trips, right? You're taking the risk then, right? What is the harm in taking the risk for fun? Because you've
There
already taken
is.
the risk.
There is more risk. You're adding on more
No, there
risk.
isn't.
There is. No, there is.
You're
Okay,
literally adding to it.
you're adding more risk. Like, you're literally adding a more risky scenario to
You're
it
just taking
for
X
no
number
reason.
and adding 10.
Yeah,
Right.
and like,
Just because.
okay. So this
It's
okay.
not a no reason.
It's okay. So like, this is the thing. It's like, I don't know what particular protocols are going around for these kinds of scenarios in airports, in train stations, in public transport.
Also, wash your hands, people.
Yeah, wash your hands. But I have seen different governments interact in different ways with this virus. When it comes to transportation places, when it comes to places with high degrees of public transport, I've seen where in Korea they would be disinfecting the entire station. Like, there are ways that people are differently treating these places because of the situation that we have. However, you cannot shut them down because they're so vital to our way of life. So
In
this
Japan, they have shut down the schools across the entire country for a month.
Mhm.
Explain that.
That's, I mean,
Let's
honestly,
start to explain.
okay, so like honestly,
That's that's
I-
vital.
honestly, number one, I think that is a good decision, because like you're mitigating risk. But number two, they run a different school year, so they're actually pretty close to the end of the school year. So they can afford more to take that risk. Like, their school year, I believe, doesn't end in July, but it ends like in May somewhere. So they're kind of.
So this is the exam season.
I'm not quite sure, but I do know.
Let's not assume that. Let's not assume that, right?
School year in Japan. I mean, like that should show, because it's such a drastic move to take. It's not something that you just do. That should show like how important it is to avoid these sorts of contaminous zones. And it's like some things can't be avoided. It's a really big step to close down schools. It would be a really, really big step to close down airports or train stations. And to then just be like, oh, because they don't take these big risks to shut these things down to avoid this. And so in some cases they do. Let us just have this fun event where the risk is going to be maybe even amplified. Because
no, definitely amplified, because you're just adding to the pool.
Yeah.
It's oh my god, I'm struggling.
I get what you're trying to say, but like you are just adding to it.
Right.
So
you're adding a tiny drop.
Hold on. The Japan academic year ends in March and starts in April. So it's literally just like this is literally the following month.
Okay.
So that's like, this would be kind of like for them to say July schools are shut down or August schools are shut down. So that's how they're taking that.
Okay. But like, do you not see the comparable here?
I feel that like it justifies even more to be very careful with conventions, because like they just, because in Japan they were like, it's so serious that we gotta not have people in one place that we're shutting down schools.
Not one place. We're talking every school.
Yes.
In the entire country.
Yes. So if an entire country locks down their schools because they say you should not be in these places with so many people together, then why would you be like, oh, let's just have a convention for fun? Let's just do this for fun. It's like, that makes no sense. It's like they're literally holding people's like academic years, saying you gotta not be in a group. You gotta like avoid these risk areas, and then you're like, oh, let us just have this convention for fun. It's like, no, like.
Okay, what's
really
the
trying
statistic?
to think of a metaphor here.
What is the statistic? Isn't it like 90% of all deaths happen in the home?
I do not know about that statistic or any information related to that.
Because that's where you are most of the fucking time!
But
you can't use a bullshit statistic to justify something. Oh,
I don't know what
you need to have a gun, because the majority of deaths in the home happen in the home.
But we're not talking statistics. We're not
talking about chance. You're talking about probability.
Okay,
right?
so we're not talking about exact statistics, but would you not agree that if I am here in this room by myself, there is a way lower chance than that I would, like, actually, you just used that argument just like a couple of minutes ago when you were talking about train stations and airports, that those should be shut down. It's like you're saying the same thing. If you go to a place with a lot of people, where a lot of people move through, there's a higher chance that you get infected. That's a fact. So then Japan decides to shut down their schools right now. Across the whole country, which is a really big decision. You don't just do that. It's a big decision to do that.
Right.
So that means that it's very important that you do not have people in such a place if you can avoid it. And then we're just saying like, and then we're like, oh, let's go have a convention for fun.
No, back it up a bit.
No,
we're saying, let's just keep the planes up and running.
But the planes are so like, you can't just shut down international travel. You cannot
can. Dude, that's how you bloody close the borders.
You cannot do that.
That's how you prevent an epidemic.
Okay. Look around you. How many things do you have that are made in China? How many things do you have that you buy that come from other places, that come from different countries? Because of the way that our global market is structured, you cannot.
We're not talking freight. We're not talking trains. We're not talking cargo vessels. The majority of goods shipped are through cargo vessels, not passenger flights.
But not all passenger flights are vacation flights. A lot of them are business flights, which are essential for keeping the business going. It's a very important thing. You cannot just shut down the entirety of international travel. Like, that is a really big thing. The fact that they shut down the school in Japan over the entire country is a really big step. But it would be a bigger step to shut down travel.
Zeno, can you rephrase how you were arguing earlier about how going to a convention is not additive?
No, it is additive, right? I'm saying it's a piss drop in the ocean compared to going to an airport or a train station.
That's the point you were trying to get. Okay.
Yes. Like, so if you're going on if you're not prepared to shut down an airport, right, then what is the risk comparatively to going to a convention, right?
So, okay, you're right. The risk is only that piss drop more.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. It's an elective thing. It is the just for fun thing. It is the not necessary thing. Like, if
you could same argument could be made about business flights, right?
Yes,
you don't have to do it in person.
No, you're absolutely right. We live in 2020. The internet exists. Yeah.
Right.
I'm just saying, travel stuff like that is not quite so black and white. Like, if DE were to make the decision, flip the switch, we're not doing TennoCon this year, that's fine. Like, that's taking that tiny little fraction of a risk and turning it off.
Yeah.
And that, again, like Michelle was talking about earlier, that is the more responsible decision, but it's being made privately by DE. It's not something that has a regulation, not something that we have information on that says the risk for spreading blah 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 is X, so we need to consider shutting down airports and closing borders and this, that, and the other. Like, they are a private company.
Yeah,
they can just do that.
Yeah.
And
even though the World Health Organization has already talked about delaying the 2020 Olympics.
I mean, if they have to do that, they probably should. Like, they're pretty smart guys over there.
Yeah.
And gals.
Like, and we're talking about so many more people flooding one country.
Yeah.
You know, I can totally get behind that. But
the Olympics, I would argue, maybe just slightly more important than TennoCon.
Mm-hmm.
Still an elective,
importance
just for
doesn't
fun
have a
thing.
huge.
Yeah. It is still just that,
just
for fun thing.
Yeah,
it's not just for fun. There's tradition there. There's a fairly long history, but you get the point.
Yeah. No, I get the point. The thing is that the whole notion of, I'm not going to do X, I'm not going to do Y, is having such a devastating impact on industries, right? In food, in in the gaming industry. I don't know if you're aware, but Nintendo's stock has dropped because they cannot sell the Nintendo. There's no more Nintendo Switches. Right?
Yeah, there's
a sort of
issues are starting to creep up. Like,
the stock values for cleaning products like Dettol. I don't know what the equivalent is in other countries, but Dettol's a big brand in the UK. Sure. Like, their value is skyrocketing because everyone is buying like antibacterial stuff. Like, yeah, virus, but whatever. I mean, it all helps, but like,
I don't want to discourage people from being clean.
Yeah,
I know.
I mean,
day 2 of conventions, please.
Yeah,
I want to encourage as much cleanliness as possible.
Yes,
Jeez.
Please. I mean, of course.
Just shower.
Of course, you're gonna get consumer reaction to events like these, and whether the consumer reaction is a justified choice in like either buying entire stocks of cleaning agent or not buying a beer because that might be connected, which makes no fucking sense, or like not buying things
a lot of education problems here.
Things for certain places, like a lot of these things are pretty dumb when you look at the way that people make these decisions. But again, it's their money. Like, people are allowed to be dumb. People are allowed to buy whatever they want and just be done with it. However,
So you're saying my Lysol bath was justified? Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Got it.
But I think that like one of the more prominent things, which is also what Linus Tech Tips recently made a video on, talking about hardware shortage, and I think you touched on that with a Nintendo Switch as well, where because our supply chain consists of so many factors, so many factories, so many places where materials are not craft.
China's not making the hardware. That simply put it. China's understaffed right now.
Mm-hmm. But it's like there are so many places where a Nintendo Switch isn't just made in one single factory. Like it's getting its resources from other factories that process. That was the word I was looking for. That process different materials that go into the creation of a piece of electronics, a piece of hardware. So it's relying on factories, mostly in China, to function properly. And it was very, like, this thing has been very poorly timed with the Chinese New Year, where already factories have been shut down because it was a holiday season.
We're just burning through stockpiles now.
So right now, like, most of the things are just stock that we're going through while we're waiting for these factories to restart so that they can start producing these things again, like Nintendo Switches, like current consoles, like the stock for next-gen consoles, like PC hardware to game on, or just do PC things on, like hard drives, SSDs, RAM, all that stuff. Like those things.
Just devices in general, like they're all over in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Everything. Have to be just the major,
yeah, none. Like everything is, like, I haven't seen big stock shortages yet, but they can very well happen. And as far as I just heard from you with Nintendo, they are apparently already happening, which is a very big thing.
I mean, it's understandable. They're going to go through a slowdown period for a while. Like, it's going to take a bit to, I hate to use the word here, recover for this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that a part of it also has to do with, like, the I've heard a term just-in-time approach being thrown around. I'm not very familiar with that, so I'm not going to use it probably to its official definition, but my definition of it would be like most of the time processes within factories like these, or factories around the world, or even with retailers, is that they will not like have a lot of things in stock far in advance. Because
it's similar to on demand.
Yeah, because having a lot of things in stock means that you have to buy things. You have to buy all these resources, or all these goods, and then stock them, and then hope that people will buy them from you. Which
is part of the reason that pre-ordering became such a phenomenon. I don't know what to call it.
Yeah, because, like, you gotta imagine, either you have a game store and you gotta buy all these games yourself to have them in stock, and then hope that everyone buys them, and maybe you're left with like a dozen copies, and then like that's lost revenue there. Or you tell people, hey, sign up if you want to get this, and already put money down, and then you know that every single game you buy will be sold. So that's why there is not a lot of things in stock all the way on the process line. Like, I've also worked in factories where there won't be a lot of materials in stock at all times, because like storage space is also very expensive space. Like, on that space where you're storing goods, you can also be having like a factory line. You can also have an assembly line right there. So like those are considerations which are very well justified, or you can argue or whether they're very well justified, but most of the time are very well justified when everything is running as it should. But right now, because a lot of things are shut down or understaffed because of the virus, shortages can and most likely will be occurring if they are not occurring already.
Again, it's too early.
Yeah.
Well, no, I
mean,
it's
kind of bad.
We already know that there are shortages of things coming in.
Well, yeah, right? I'm just saying
it's mostly electronics.
We're not going to be seeing the more long-term effects for quite some time, and I'm willing to bet there are going to be, as far as like production and industry goes. not the virus.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the big things is like how are these companies that are suffering in PR, in stock value, how easily are they going to be able to recover? My hope would be quite easy because Michelle was talking about, it's time to buy into the sanitary products. Personally, I would buy into Corona beer because when this whole fiasco is over, right, that's just going to skyrocket back up. You're not wrong.
You're gonna build up a supply, like you're gonna stockpile oil drums of Corona.
No, I'm talking about the stock value. I'm not gonna buy the beer. Who wants that? It tastes like piss.
That's what I pictured. Somebody just stockpiling Corona. They've got
because it's cheap now.
One day, Papa's gonna strike it rich. I get what you're saying. That's just the image you put in my head.
I think that right now would be the perfect time for you, Xeno, to approach Corona and be like, "Hey, I can do sponsor spots for you on my videos."
Not quite, but okay. Oh God.
I mean, you'll be just one of the few, and then once it skyrockets, you'll just be.
Wait,
like...
that might hurt Xeno more than it hurts Corona.
Probably.
Anyway.
Oh my God, he's affiliated with the Corona beer virus.
Xeno, you're
he's
definitely
sponsored by the Corona beer virus. Oh my God.
That will probably be an episode of you with your nidus just spreading the space herpes around.
God.
All right. Wash your hands, Stano.
Yeah. I think washing your hands is something that goes a really, really long way.
Just preventative maintenance in general. Just be aware of what you're touching, what you have touched, what other things they have touched. Like, be aware of, like, time. Like, oh yeah, I scratched my eye, but I made a hamburger like an hour ago. Like, I don't know. These are bad examples. Just be aware of what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good example. I mean, a lot of people don't realize. I am fully aware of how often I touch my face because I just touched my face again. I just touched my face again. I just touched my face again. Like, I shouldn't be touching my face nearly as frequently as I do on camera. But every single time I see myself on camera, I get super conscious about it and I start touching my face. I am well aware of this, right? And like, people don't realize that they touch their faces like a few times a sec. No, not a few times a second. Every few seconds, right? No, it's like every few seconds a person will touch their own face, and they don't realize this, but it's true, right? Some people say, "Oh, I don't touch my face for like hours." I'm like, "No, you probably touch your face."
Lying.
Yeah, you just don't know.
Yeah, these are all subconscious things.
Yeah.
I really.
And
yeah, no.
I think.
Go ahead.
Go on.
No, like I was gonna say, like I agree. I've started to notice like how much I touch my face as well. But it's just like because you're sitting down or you're just like you're especially on camera. Like I found like what you're saying with like because you see yourself on camera, you start touching. I did do the same thing, and I've never seen you do it, but I'm super well aware that I do it. But yeah,
my skin's itchy.
Again,
I must touch my face.
But like I do love the wisdom quotes that we're spreading here with like the ones where it's like every so many minutes a tree falls in like the Amazon, every so many minutes a child is born, and then Xeno comes around and says every so many seconds someone touches their face.
No. Someone's touching the face several times a second.
Yeah.
Gotta get right. Touch your face and Oberon dies.
Good thing I have thousands of Oberons.
Oh God, that's right.
Anyway, so personally, I do not think that we need to worry nearly as much as traditional media and the rumors are really putting on, right? I really feel that people are taking this out of hand. I've seen, like, I go through TikTok, like sometimes when I'm horrifically bored, I'll just flick through TikTok, and like the number of times I'm doing it again, right? The number of times I see like videos where someone going like, I heard a rumor that if you a hand wash, a hand dryer will kill the coronavirus off your hand, right? And like the British Health Organization, there's several of them. I've now joined TikTok just to spread information about how to clean your hand. It isn't hard. Get soap, apply friction, apply water, apply more friction,
and sing "Happy Birthday" twice. Actually, that's that's an actual piece of advice that I learned from Zakimus the other day about singing "Happy Birthday" twice in your head.
20 seconds.
Yeah, about 20.
Yeah,
out loud.
Yeah, sing "Happy Birthday" twice.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like when I watched, I don't know what the doctor's name is. He's a YouTuber.
Dr.
What's his
Mike.
name? Yes, okay, it was Dr. Mike.
Mhm.
Like when I watched this, he said like, just wash your hands for 6 seconds, just sing "Happy Birthday" twice. I'm like, how fucking fast are you singing "Happy Birthday"?
20 seconds. He must have misspoke.
Oh, maybe I just
He
misheard.
knows how.
I mean, it's quite possible.
Yeah. Oh, it's probably you then.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday." Done.
Not in your head, because you speed it up in your head.
Mm-hmm. You always speed things up in your head. But I think, first of all, if anything, it's this is a really good time for people to become more aware of like how much you touch your face, what are really good things like the technique of washing your hands for 20 seconds, things like that. I think that there are good things for people to in general become aware of. But I think that number two, I'm quite shocked with how little, not just how little there's generally known, because it's a very new thing, but how little we actually know, as in what is fact and what's fiction, because there are so many things being thrown around. And I also feel that over the past month. Yeah, I think the widespread news coverage started about a month ago. In February, it really started picking up. And then it was very much in the sense of the really bad headlines and the really bad things and everyone should worry. And now I'm feeling like a lot of news outlets are making the switch now where they're like, oh, it's not so bad. It's not so bad. That it just feels like what's even real? And that is something which I think is a little bit more worrying than I thought it would be.
Don't read headlines.
No.
Yeah, just don't. Just don't.
That's bad practice, period. I think we can all agree that, I mean, it's going to be clickbait.
Yeah.
No matter who you're going to.
So, I've just typed in COVID-19 on Google, and I'm going to read out some headline titles.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
Coronavirus. Police may only deal with serious crimes if there is a mass COVID-19 outbreak. What the fuck? Right?
Taking some spin on a guideline that whatever local...
Right?
Yeah.
Positive test for coronavirus COVID-19 in North Hampshire. Okay. Let's have a look. Coronavirus in Hull. Authorities tracing close contacts of Hull COVID-19 patient. What else is there? I mean, that's just freaked out anyone from Hull.
Yeah.
Right. What else
it's
have we
good
got?
information to know that it's possibly in a place. If you are in that place, be more careful.
But it just makes people fucking freak out because they're like,
I know.
Oh, God,
they're missing a lot of the details.
Right.
That patient could be fine. It could be some 25-year-old guy and he barely sniffles. It barely affects him.
Yeah.
It could be
Kent coronavirus. Government admits error in confirming another COVID-19 case in the country. What's the government got to do with anything? This should be the NHS.
What's wrong with admitting an error? Hey, we got it wrong.
No. But my point is, I don't understand how the information's coming from the government. The information should be coming from the National Health Service, right?
Are they not government there? Or is that a private thing?
No, it's not private, but it's not government either, right? It's government funded, right?
I mean, that's
but
probably
it's still a separate.
Yeah.
You know, What else have we got?
They
Well-
gotta draw a conclusion and make it sound like it's more.
Well,
Ooh.
it's again like hunting for clicks, and I believe that like at first when the situation doesn't seem as close to home, I think that media outlets are more easier to
Right.
throw on it.
He-
Go ahead.
Here's another one, right? Coronavirus. British woman in virus-hit Tenerife hotel tests positive for COVID-19. Literally, the picture, the banner picture, is a swimming pool. That's not going to make people freak the fuck out.
Again, those things are clicks. The interesting thing though is I just search for coronavirus, and the first two things that pop up are World Health Organization websites,
Right.
with information. So that's pretty good. I mean, like, just get away from the stupid articles.
Right. Oh, but this is fucking Britain. Like, oh, we just love our stupid bullshit tabloid crap, right? One from AOL.com, good sir, right? Deaths from COVID-19 more likely among the elderly. No fucking shit! Who would have thought of that?
It's almost like you get more infirmed as you age.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right? Who would have thought of that? I mean, I always thought I became more like Superman, you know?
I mean, I'm planning on it.
Oh, here's one, right? Here's one from Sky News 7 hours ago. Why coronavirus probably won't kill you? It's put probably in parentheses. It's like, oh, okay. here we go.
Okay.
You're not wrong.
Actually,
Right.
okay, go ahead. The final one. Go
Right,
ahead.
final one, right? From NHK World, right? Asthma drug seems effective for
Oh, no,
COVID-19 pneumonia.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
Where's your study?
Anyway, so let's take it back to like the games industry a little bit, because we talked about conventions. We also talked about like how hardware supplies.
You should shower.
Oh, you should shower as well and wash your hands and sing happy birthday twice every single day, because it's probably someone's birthday. And how hardware supplies might be running low in the foreseeable future. We don't know, but it's a possibility. However, do you think that this can affect the industry apart from just like lower supplies of already available consoles, but also in ways like titles being delayed, or maybe the launch of the next generation of consoles being delayed, which we don't necessarily know yet when that is. We did have one crazy good guru in the gaming community. I don't know which site they were from, but they posted that the PS5 will most likely not be coming in February, on February 29th, which was a brilliant article.
Yeah, no fucking shit.
I don't know. I don't know how they predicted that, but they had some really good insight.
Yeah. So, yes.
That's a good headline, actually.
Yeah.
Sorry.
This could impact the games industry in a multitude of different ways, right?
Mhm.
For example, we've already spoken about hardware. It could be the production of the physical items, right? So the physical off-the-shelf game boxes with the, because China is a great place to get cheap labor, right? It's, I know all the Nendroids all the Nendroids. Where's my finger that I have up on my shelf? The majority of them are mass produced in China. They're produced in
Much like
factories in
everything.
China. Yeah. So yeah, a lot of stuff is produced in. And I've bought some more. I've ordered some more, but there's a chance that they'll just turn around and like delayed. I'm like, well, yeah. I mean, it's going to happen because the sheer impact this is having. It's
They're busy spraying the box with the virus.
Yeah, I mean, like they got to make sure that it's trapped in the air. The bubble wrap, and they've layered it in the plastic like 12 times over, and they've got it in the paint too, and they spat on it before it will actually come to me. I mean, it's.
I mean, especially in figurines, they'll be made in such a way that like over time they'll breathe out like bits of the virus.
like lead paint.
Yeah,
It'll breathe out.
it will just like shoot out like a little bit of like infected fires.
Yes, all those dead cells.
That just makes me think of those poopsie whoopsie things that Markiplier and Ethan had on.
Oh yeah,
Is just like, you know, oh yeah, this shit's like sparkly goo. Like, why would you want this as a toy? No,
There's a
whatever. Like,
market for everything.
right, I bought those for my cousin, not knowing what the hell they were. Right, she asked for them. Right, her mother, could you get her some of these, please? And I'm just like, what the hell? Right? What the hell is this crap? And then I saw it for the first time on Unis Honest, and I'm like, crap, I bought those. You know, so I'm just envisioning like my Nendroids, you know, just like shitting out coronavirus.
Except it's in like little miniature bottles of Corona.
Oh
Yeah,
my god!
oh my god.
Right?
Do you not think though, that like there might be a chance for subscription-based live service games or subscription services with like the GeForce Now, Google Stadia, or like the Xbox Game Pass, or things like Netflix to have a certain rise in usage and like finances because people have to stay at home or people are staying at home. So what they're gonna do? They're gonna play games and watch Netflix.
People are already doing that.
Yeah.
I do agree with the sentiment, but I don't think it would happen.
No.
Because I don't think people like, where is this excess money going to come from? Right? Just because people are working from home or not working at all, that it doesn't mean they have any more capital that they can just like, oh, I'm just going to buy this $600 footwear and have it. Oh, wait, no, I can't do that. I'm going to buy this $600 oh, wait, no, I can't do that. I'm going to buy this $600 graphics. No, wait, I can't do that. Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to be able to buy the $600 graphics card, but you can't spend $600 on Steam since you're not buying $600 of Corona beer anymore.
Yeah, what can we buy for $600 on Steam? No, I'm joking.
Okay,
like,
did you know that there are like mobile games on like Google Play and the App Store which are just like $900 or something? It's like this game is $900, and the entire thing is like every time this game sells, I get $900. So please buy my game. Like that's the entire point of the game. That you...
Are you fucking kidding?
Yes. No, I'm not kidding. Like they're literally on there. There are games that are like super insanely expensive, and the entire point is like, buy this game so you have the honor of owning this game, and I get so many $100 for a shitty app.
In an open system, those things are going to happen. People are going to make the Hail Mary cash grabs. They're usually pulled down pretty quick, but yeah, they do exist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember like in the early days of Android, there was the was it the Android Ruby or something like this? It was literally like a GIF of a Ruby, and it was like 10 grand.
Wow.
Right? And like Jamie Oliver, the chef, has one. And it's like, I think only like 10 or so sold before they shut down the site. So shut down the app. But it was just like, Christ, this Muppet who made this has just made like 100 grand for a GIF.
It's smart if you can get it, but like
if you can pull that off.
If you can pull that off, props to you, man.
You.
Like seriously, like enjoy that money, because don't be so stupid to spend fuck all money on something that isn't worth it. But hey, people do it.
I think subscription based
that aren't worth in the first place. Like it's just, yeah.
I think subscription based services could probably see a rise in usage. Mm-hmm. Things like Netflix, maybe even Amazon Video. But I don't think there'd be a rise in digital purchases like, you know, I'm going to buy, God, what's the name of the damn games coming out this month? There's both of them. There's so many parodies of Doom Eternal and Animal Crossing. I don't think there's going to be a rise in sales for those. I think that's pretty much like set in stone. Mm-hmm. There's probably going to be, I mean, if there may be more digital sales rather than physical sales, but I think that they'll equal out.
Sales anymore? Like, aren't those?
No, I typically try to buy physical sales over digital because if my friends want to borrow the game or whatever, I can actually lend it to them. Whereas if it's a download, it's tied to my account. I can't lend it to them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Actually, I have a very good way to find out how what will happen. I don't think there's going to be any change. If anything, there will be a decrease in people like watching things or like buying games, because I'm going to give some advice, personal advice, so not professional advice. Don't take this. But if you are stuck in a place where you have to be and you only have an internet connection, how about you watch the entire FrameCast catalog back to back? And if you're done, which is about like 2 days of content, why don't you continue on with the entire 10 o'clock catalog back to back? Like that's like 200 or something episodes. You'll be fine.
331.
Wow, I was way off.
Yeah, you really were. It's like over 700 hours.
Yeah, so if you do that, only then you can go watch Netflix or whatever. By then, probably it will be over. I don't know.
Like, I mean, wow, that really is nearly a month's worth of content.
That is insane. Like,
There's 720 hours in a month.
Dude, can you imagine how many hours like you and Laws have just spent talking about Warframe on that 10 o'clock?
An entire month of just Xeno talking.
Oh my god. I don't know if I feel comfortable anymore.
Sounds like hell.
Right. Okay. I think the fact that we're being jovial, we're making fun of this, indicates that this isn't really something that people need to worry about. Right?
I disagree. In a sense.
I mean, why? The mortality on it is tiny.
Well, I don't think that you should disregard it, whatever the mortality rate is, because even if it's like a percent, or like let's say that it's like a percent or 2 or 3. If you were to like ignore it and let the whole world get it, then like that will amount to a lot of people. And I still think that like people's lives really matter. For me, I'm particularly worried about it because I have a cousin who has no immune system. So if she gets in contact with this, it could be really, really bad. And I don't want that to happen. So
see, that is perfectly legitimate, right?
Mm-hmm.
I also think it is good precautionary tactics. If you end up getting flu-like symptoms, right, you should quarantine yourself. You should stay at home. You should no, but the difficulty is
it's
infectious,
transmittable before the symptoms arise.
Yeah.
Yes, you don't even know if
is.
Yeah. And
you should be more cautious in general. Wash your hands, people.
Yeah.
Wash your hands.
I feel that Zakimus has like a hidden message that he wants to convey to people.
Maybe wash your hands and shower more. Please.
How many people do you deal with that don't shower?
Just conventions.
How many conventions do you go to?
All of them.
Yeah.
Actually, it's been quite a while since I've gone to a convention.
Me too, but like conventions are generally like by far not the cleanest place.
You know what? I find it more what's the word? Not entertaining. Like, it's just a better experience. Like just watching it at home, staying home, unless I'm going there to meet up with like some friends. I'm gonna have a better time in the comfort of my own home, getting the same information I would get.
I have never gone to.
Go on.
Okay, I have never gone to the convention for the convention. Like, whenever I'm at a convention, I can't care less about that thing. I only want to see the people there in real life, because the rest, I don't give a shit. It's not important.
I feel
if I do want to care about the thing, I'll just watch the video after I get home.
Yeah.
I feel it depends on the convention, right? I couldn't give a crap about Gamescom because I went 1 year. I got to play maybe 4 games out of the entire 3 days, right? I think I gave up on the 3rd day, or was it the 4th day? No, 3rd day. I gave up on the 3rd day. I just didn't bother going because you had to get up stupidly early. You had to queue for bloody hours, and you got to play 1 game in the morning and 1 game in the evening. It was not worth the time, right? No. I much prefer Eurogamer, right? Because like there's a huge indie section. It's like EGX, Eurogamer X. Much prefer that because there's a huge indie section. And indie games are the games that you will not hear about. They struggle to advertise compared to the AAA titles. AAA titles, I'll bloody get a demo of it, or I'll just watch a review, because those are like, that's how I found Dead Cells. I fucking love Dead Cells. I'm so happy that they made it. Right? TennoCon, I really enjoy the convention. I also really enjoy hanging out with people. BlizzCon, you would never catch me at, because I think like the queues are monumentally massive and it's just not worth the money. PAX I would struggle with. TwitchCon I would struggle with. Because unless you get the option to do lots of small things, I'm just not in.
Man, PAX early years was so much fun. Like, I wouldn't go back now, but like, it was a much smaller thing. I was going to meet up with friends, and like, it was such a different experience. So yeah, I get that. Like, where it's just not worth going if it's going to be a miserable experience.
I found out with TennoCon, I've been there twice, and like the thing is that like I never really did any of the activities there, because like 1 year like we did the escape rooms, but like they were kind of the same like the next year. It's like a lot of the things are like, you see, it's like, oh, it's funny, but like the real big thing why I spent like over $2,000 to go there every time, well, I did it twice, was because of like the week that you're there to hang out with people that you don't otherwise hang out with. And like, I don't like the convention, I don't give a crap about. I just give a crap about that, like, you wake up and you like interact with the people that you normally interact with online, and you just go around, do fun things. You go to the festival, you go to the park, whatever. Those are the fun moments. However, like, because of it, like I after 2 years, I just felt like this convention, like the thing kind of stays the same, and
because it pretty much is,
and it's so much of a like, because everyone arrives there, and like some people are there for the first time, so the convention really matters to them. It's like, it's such a thing which really happens there that you can't really like have the greatest quality time with people. That I was like, honestly, unless it's like for like some important engagement thing that I have to be at a convention, I'd much rather spend that money to go and like hang out with someone one-on-one, or like somewhere with like do a meetup with a couple of people that I like somewhere else, than have that tied to a convention. Because most of the time the convention is like, it's a day, it's fun, but $2,000 fun? No, not really. So yeah.
And then silence.
I mean, you've already, like, we've just determined that you've already spoken for months on the internet. So hey, you can be quiet.
Fine, I'll just be quiet
Sorry,
then.
sorry, I got to do a thing.
No, we know you. You got to drive your course, Zakimus. You're looking really good today.
Zoom, zoom, zoom.
Anyway, I feel that we've. Well, go ahead.
Overarching thing here, like, the story's going to be changing day by day, month by month, year by year, even. Like, we're very, very early on, and just alert, cautious, don't freak out, don't ignore it. Still very early. Like, it's a developing situation.
Yeah. I mean,
and wash your hands.
Yeah. And don't touch your face. Like,
wash your hands before and after using the restroom. Think about where those hands have been
before and after you touch your face.
I mean, all that too. But like, when you're going to the restroom, I don't want whatever filthy hands I have anywhere near anything. Just saying.
Kind of wish that restrooms had like more availability to not have to touch surfaces other people have touched, like the bloody door handle.
I feel like that's getting better.
It's like, we still have to touch faucets. We still have to. I mean, like, oh wow,
there's motion sensors on a lot of them.
Not over here, but like, oh look, what's it called? Hand dryers that actually, they have proximity sensors. Cool. Still have fucking doors.
You guys don't have the what's it? The forearm elbow thing? It's like a hook on a door.
No. That would be genius, but no, we do not.
Not super common where I'm at, but it's getting. I don't know. Somebody sent out a memo. Company marketed real hard. I don't know what happened, but they're gaining traction here quickly.
Yeah,
which is nice to see.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah. Just be clean.
Yeah. I think that in general is a good thing to...
I also, again, I want to
zoom.
drum in the point that do not take everything that anyone says as pure fact, unless it's said by a professional, right? Like a professional virologist, just take it as hearsay. Because, I mean, it was really recent when it was discovered that vaping caused serious damage to the lungs, where, like, was it like a couple of teenage kids, like, they died, and it was because the coil and the fluid sold to them was of seriously substandard quality. And when their autopsies were done, their lungs were reported to look
really bad. Like this internet connection now. Really, really bad. Just like this internet connection. Or it's computer. I mean, dude.
It's a screensaver thing. Like,
yeah, go watch the FrameCast back to back.
No, I have like an old dev stream in the background, but it finished and... the thing.
You know what never finishes? The FrameCast. And we actually have content that we bring to you right now instead of maybe in 2 years.
anyway, right? Shit, what was I saying? Oh yeah, don't listen too closely. Don't follow traditional media, because they are in the business of fear mongering. They are in the business of clickbaiting you into watching their thing, so that you'll continue to watch. You'll build up a brand loyalty with their channel, be it Sky News, be it ITV, be it BBC News, be it whatever. And they're all as bad as each other.
Here first, you're gonna die.
Yeah, it's just like the fact that there was one Sky News article that said probably. It's like, Jesus Christ.
You
maybe want to bet your title?
You know what? I can probably use that in like most of my titles now. That will be the new clickbait. Like, Warframe released an update that could probably kill you. Like, who knows? Maybe there's like a 0.01% chance if you sit too long on your computer.
Oh.
I thought you were about to say probably fix the game.
Michelle. Oh. Okay.
Watching the FrameCast will probably save your life.
Hey, that's a good one, because if you sit inside and you watch the FrameCast now, maybe that means
you're not outside jumping in front of cars like you normally are.
Yes.
Right.
Watch the FrameCast. Share the FrameCast with all your friends and loved ones. Do you want your friends and loved ones to be safe? Get them to watch the FrameCast and subscribe to the channel and support the Patreon.
Patreon.com/DanielGallian.
God dang it. Anyway, shall we take a look back at... We did a poll last week about the topic of the PvE versus PvP game. I don't know, have you watched that, Zakimus? Were you aware of the topic?
No, I am not.
You're a bad follower. No.
I'm busy.
Busy with what? Okay,
Watching 10 o'clock.
Do you want me to answer that?
Anyway, so...
Moving on.
So what we talked about was, like, can PvP be done right in PvE games, and should it even be done right in PvE games? So, like, we had Division 2, which has now released a new update, which also had a free weekend last weekend, but it's also dropped its price down to $3 or something for the entire game. So it kind of entered into the somewhat free-ish or somewhat accessible live service games like Warframe and Destiny 2. However, something that Division has is they have dark zones, which is like, normally you have like PvE content where you can like take over, like fight enemies and stuff like that. Dark zones, like you can fight enemies and then other people can also like fight you and then take the loot that you get in that area. So there's like a little bit more of a PvP element to it. There's also a PvP element with like more like team-based effort. So we kind of discussed about like, well, what is it like to have a PvP element to the game? Can it provide for more content in the game? Like a lot of PvE games suffer that there is like no content, and the physical content they actually add in is the only thing that keeps players happy. Whereas like PvP matches can be their own content. So we talked about that, and one thing that we like kind of like came up with was that like there are PvP games and there are PvE games. And PvP games on their own do very well, and PvE games on their own do very well. But we couldn't really think about like PvE games that have PvP where the PvP is actually good. So we were wondering, because a lot of times people like talk about, oh, Warframe needs PvP, but they never talk about like, has PvP actually ever worked in a PvE game, and do people in a PvE game actually want PvP? So
it depends on if the players like it.
Yeah. So
like if it's done well enough to the point where it attracts a portion of the player base, or I mean, hell, even all of the player base, and they refocus the game around PvP. Like, what do the players like?
Yeah.
Like, if they're playing it, like, I play Warframe because I like I'm playing on a team. I'm playing with my squad. I like the PvE. But, like, if they were to come out with some PvP mode, which like actually, worked. That was good. Like, crap, how am I trying to say this?
If PvP was good, people would play it.
Yeah, that's
it.
Pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah, but a lot of times
like,
the PvP modes are pretty crappy because they're like client based, which doesn't.
If they can pull off, I'm pretty sure Watch Dogs. The Division. Why did I say Watch Dogs? The first one had a similar system.
Yeah, but that was broken too.
Yeah, that was a shit show. That was a complete fucking train wreck. The number of people that were cheating on PC was through the roof. They didn't address it for like half a year.
That's an example of like where it's not going to work. Like it shouldn't be the focus of the developer, I guess.
Yeah.
So let's see.
Warframe should probably continue to focus not on the PvP thing, and let all the players
if you're not going to secure it down, then there's no point in focusing on it.
Yeah.
So let's see what the people that are listening to this podcast feel about the PvE games. So we asked them, what's your preference to play in a single game? So do you only want to play PvE games, only PvP, or both PvE and PvE in the same game? So we had Sarah people say
PvE one.
Yeah, we had Sarah people say that they want to only do PvP. We had 2 people, but now with Zakimus we have 3 people that say that they only play PvE. But we had a majority of 7 votes.
I don't only play PvE.
Well, like, what's your preference?
I play Warframe for PvE.
Yeah, but if okay. So that was the thing. Like, what's your preference to play in a single game if you had to choose? Only a PvE game? Only a PvP?
It's more PvP.
Okay, so then you would be the one voting the PvP. Wait, but we had 7 votes for both PvE and PvP, which is surprising. I did not expect that. So there is, among the listeners of the FrameCast...
Was there the majority was they wanted to do both?
Yes, the majority was both.
Did anyone give any examples of a game that was both?
I did not see any examples, but we did have Jay comment on the episode. But his preference was PvE. So, like, when he was younger, he loved the PvP games more. But right now, like, his mentality of the PvE games are, like, he likes them more. He believes that when it comes to PvP in games like Warframe, a lot of the PvP elements have to be like put into like the I think he describes it as like the netcode or something. It's like you're gonna have to, like, if you're gonna like have to implement good PvP servers and stuff like that, you're gonna have to roll back a lot. So it's like it's really tough to start to implement.
PvP in Warframe would be a nightmare.
Yeah,
you'd have to secure the code. You'd have to make sure that you optimize the netcode so you don't have weird latency issues. Yeah, no, I get what they're saying.
Mm-hmm. So they think that PvP-VE, the thing that you offered, was the future for Warframe. Warframe's only real chance is to do PvP for PvPvE. So they offer the games like Epic 7, which is
That's
like
a good point.
Epic 7 is like a mobile game where you have where you create a team of 4 fighters, and then you can battle against other 4 fighters. But they're if you're playing against another player, they're just specters. So you'll fight the specters of the other player, and then if you beat them, you win. And then if they beat you, they the player gets a little kickback from that. Shall we end it there?
Yep.
Wash your hands.
Yeah, be sure to do that. And we'll hope to see you guys next week again for another FrameCast where we're going to be talking about different things. FrameCast 35, that will be. If you want to check out Casino Galleon and maybe something cool that will be coming out on his channel soonish, go to youtube.com/CasinoGalleon. Make sure you hit that subscribe button because we're going to have to get him to that 20,000 subscribers for that Orb Fellas or whatever it is, 24 hours live stream. Make sure you subscribe to Casino. Railjack, whatever it was, 24 hours. Subscribe. Get him.
Railjack. He's never going to play it again.
But anyway, make sure you check out Casino. Make sure you say hi to Zakimus. Is there any place that people can find you?
Twitter.
Check him out on Twitter. Tweet him some cool pictures of cars. Yeah. Tweet him some cool pictures of cars. He likes cars, so you can see on his profile picture right here. And we'll see you next time for the FrameCast 35. Bye.